What's happening, everybody? It has been long overdue. There's been a lot of people that's been coming to me about, and I believe coming to Don too, as well as where is Dev and the gamer. And of course, it's a schedule thing. Don works crazy hours, and of course, he's on the West Coast. Me, I'm out here in the Central Time Zone. So when he says, "Hey, let's hook up at 10:30," I'm thinking it's like maybe 11, but then it's like 12:30, and I got to be at work at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It just ain't gonna work. So anyway, so the holiday season is upon us. I hope everybody is going to have a great gobble gobble day. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope everybody's going to have a great Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So, man, Don, it's good to have you back on, man.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back. Well, who knows? We maybe run off YouTube after today. Some of the topics we have going on. So this may be the last one. I don't know.
It might be. It might be. If people get out of their element and don't understand what we're trying to talk about, it might be. It might be. It might be all over, man. But we'll have a lot of free time with our family and gaming. I know that. So.
Oh yeah, well, I'm definitely on a box where the gaming is not sparse.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think we,
Indeed.
we both know that, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's good to be back. Honestly, you probably know it better than me, KMEGA. It's like I went through the stage where I just kept guest starring on a bunch of stuff. You know how that
Mm-hmm.
comes in waves, and then I'm like, man, I love talking about games. I love working on games, but guess what? I like playing them better. So
Yeah.
like it got to the point where like, oh, we're not coordinated. I think I don't know. I'll let you speak for yourself, but it seemed like we just wanted to play some games. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically it. Yeah. Sometimes when I take my break, I'm usually done and move around. So yeah, that's exactly it. And yeah, man, what's up, Thomas? Glad to have you on. And for the people that's listening right now, and for the people that will hop on later on, hey, go ahead and share this out. Let them know. But anyway, man, let's get this party started. And first off, let's talk about the very first topic, which is very important to all gamers. It's important to everybody that uses the internet, but this is a particularly really important to gamers, and that is net neutrality. Now, I don't know if there's a lot of people that know about this. I was talking to people at work about this. They had no idea what was going on. But as of today, that they were talking about in the Congress that they were going to try to pass something to end net neutrality. And what net neutrality is basically uh, ISPs, the companies that own these ISPs can go ahead and they can charge whatever they can charge individually. Like right now that we have a set amount of what we pay. Like for instance, if I have Cox Communications, and I don't know who you have, Don, but for whatever you pay a flat fee for your internet and for whatever that you use for your Facebook, things like that. Well, if they take away net neutrality, then basically Facebook, for anything that you pay for gaming or for any other services that you use, they can charge you individually, and you can wind up be paying a hell of a lot more than what you originally pay. And what's sad about it is that there's nothing that you can do about it at that point. So if they charge you and you refuse to pay, they can shut down your service to a crawl to where it's unwatchable. And then also the powers of the big companies that has all the power, like the Comcast and etc. They can dictate what you watch and how you watch it. And then on top of that, a lot of people's viable information could be shared amongst other companies. So, but basically, if whatever game that you're playing or whatever that you're watching, you've already kind of seen that creepy factor, like especially on Facebook, when if you get something and you get this crazy avid email saying, "Hey, you like this," and you're like, "How do they know that?" Because they're already looking at your background and looking what you have. Basically, now they can do that, and there's really nothing that you can do. So, I don't know, I don't know how much you've been keeping up with this, Don, but give me your thoughts on this, man. This is really dangerous, and hopefully we can
I
stop
didn't
this.
know it was back in the news again, to be honest with you, because
Yeah,
not the first time this come up, and
right.
stuff like that. The problem is we have different listeners in different countries and stuff like that. So it's important to like put it in context, right? In in the United States, if there is pros and cons, right? Um, KMEGA did a really good job of listing all the cons, and I don't disagree with any of those, right? The pro would be if there was competition that would drive everything down. In regards to that would keep that from getting like data caps and all this other stuff that allows them to charge money and um, all that sort of stuff. Or you can have people, if they protect your privacy and this company doesn't, then what happens is someone will go with the company that protects your privacy, right? So that competition is a good thing, but the problem in the United States is it's all monopoly. So wherever you go, right? Like some people have like maybe one or two internet providers in their local area, and that's it. You don't have any other choices. In on it, most consumers have more choices in their cell phone plan than they do have in internet services here in the United States. So yeah, I'm not a fan of it. I don't know what their Congress's in game in it is, and it's a little bit scary, right?
Yeah. It's
So
it's it's definitely, it's really scary because I mean, just this is what's going to get hit is basically for the most part is gaming, because they can charge however much they want to on top of whatever services that you use as well. So for instance, if like there was somebody that made a graph and it was pretty it was pretty interesting, because they broke it down by like if you wanted to use like Netflix, Hulu, all of that, that was a charge for like $14.99. If you wanted to do gaming, and because you have to use a lot of data with gaming, and they're already putting data caps in certain areas or whatever package plan that certain people have. Uh, just imagine of how much they could charge, and on that graph, it showed it for being like $29.99. So like, just think that's already $50 that you're paying just for two services, not to mention what's going on with what you look on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. And then I've listened to other people that's from out of the country that says, well, that's just a US thing, and that's right for the most part, but it's dangerous, because if the US gets away with doing this, then this is eventually going to leak over into your area. Now, of course, we know out here in the United States with bandwidth and how like the internet is so much faster everywhere else in the world, it compared to here, this is only just making these companies want to have more access and control of what they shouldn't have. And I think that every gamer, every person that's out there that uses the internet should fight for this and make sure that you let your congressman or woman know that this is not allowed. I mean, and this would happen in the Obama administration, and they gave enough pressure to that administration, and then it changed, and they let it stay. Now we have to do this to the Trump administration and let them know, like, look, this is not going to stand. So hopefully there's going to be a big fight with this.
well, I don't think it's even a president thing, right? Like
No, it's not about
it's
Democrat or Republican. This is just
by
big
your
business
political
trying to take over.
party at this point, right?
Right.
Problem is there's you know this basically goes into conspiracy theory, right? But people know it's not free to run for Congress, right? So, and they're all, some are independently wealthy, but not really all of them, right? So the money for that stuff comes from somewhere. It comes from other big companies, right? And so even though they got our vote to be there, there is a little bit of scratch my back, right, from these other companies, and that's what really kind of drives all this stuff. Otherwise, I don't think any congressman would even bring this stuff up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so it does sound like conspiracy theory, but if you think about Comcast, just in general, right? Comcast is associated with other movie companies, right? There's parent companies and things like that that they're with, and if they want to divert your attention to something else, they're going to charge a premium for it, right?
Right.
Comcast doesn't like Netflix. They don't they don't like them at all, right? Because they infringe upon their turf of basically the cable model. So it's one of those things we should fight against, and should continue to hold that fight honestly until we have enough competition in other areas that it prevents this stuff from spinning out of control. Because without competition, they can just do what they want essentially.
Right. I mean, that's the reason why we've had situations go on to where because there was a big merger that was going to happen at that same time when they brought up net neutrality a couple of years back, and it got halted because it was just too much. I mean, these big companies merging and buying one another, and it's just it takes away from, like you said, the competition. It's just like for in gaming, we need PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo to do well, because if you just have one company, then it would be bad for everybody, because they can do whatever they want. They can dictate the market however they feel. And that's why, like, when people was like, well, I wish Xbox would be gone, PlayStation should just go ahead and rule, then just imagine what PlayStation would be like if they had no competition. It's the same goes with Xbox. If Xbox had no competition, then you know what I'm saying, as much as I'm an Xbox fan, it'd be tragic for gaming, because they would dictate the market on how they feel or perceive that gamers would what gamers want, and that's just not the case. So it just goes hand in hand, and like Blue, appreciate you coming on, Blue, and checking us out. Like she just said, that there's really not anybody talking about this. I mean, other people rather talk about the console war garbage and things like that, of that nature. And we'll get into other different type of topics. But of course, this is the most important, because this not only affects what's happening with your gaming, but this is going to affect your pockets. And this is going to affect, if you got to pay more for your internet service, then this is going to take away from you buying games.
Well, let's think like
that's going to hurt the market.
On the defensive. They said, okay, well, screw my digital collection for now, right? Like, I'm gonna go buy hard copies. Cool, you buy hard copies, right? Well, that's going to start affecting being able to get updates. It's going to start affecting the way these companies approach it. It's going to affect the type of games they make if people are not on internet playing games, right? So, and to be honest with you, the United States, the internet wouldn't be where it's at today if it weren't for gaming. Gaming's one of the biggest things outside of things like pornography and things like that that's pushed the internet.
Pornography,
some of the shadier stuff that we don't want to admit that's part of it, right? But gaming is one of those things that one of the bigger things is push us to have better bandwidth, and it's pushed, it's really kind of forged its own path to really help some of these other services that people don't even game appreciate, right? My wife doesn't game that much, but she watches the hell out of Netflix, the hell out of it, right?
Right, yeah.
And the technology that came along, the technology that runs this, this podcast on YouTube, same story. Gaming is at the forefront of all that, and therefore gaming is the one that's going to get probably hurt the most.
Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, there's like 500 companies that's saying right now that they want this to stop, that they want to keep net neutrality. And it's up to, so the FCC, there's a couple of people that's saying that they want to keep net neutrality, but again, it's up to us. We're the people that have, I don't know how many people that listen to us particularly votes. I'm a stern believer that you vote. It's our to me, our God-given right. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, for especially from who I am as an individual in my history. So it's like I have to do it. I teach my kids and everything. So I don't know how other people feel about like things like that, but these are the type of things that we have to pay attention to, because as much as some people don't like talking about politics, these are the things that we have to pay attention to that will eventually come into our backyard and harm us as gamers. So I just wanted to touch on that.
You talked about it, what's the next thing that's going to crash our economy, right? This would do it. In every single way. Like, you don't realize how much you you appreciate your internet until it's out, right? You're like,
Right.
man, almost every device in my home is rendered completely useless, right? So it affects it. It goes beyond gaming, right? But it hits a core subject with us as gamers, me as a developer. It's one of those things that's really has helped us grow,
Mm,
and to take that away, um, it sucks, right? Like if you're a big company, you have to think of more creative ways to make money, right? It's all about creativity, and I'm sure we'll talk about other things about
right.
creativity down the road. But
Yes.
yeah, but it comes down to creativity, is what it really boils down to. I mean, look at Google, right? Google Fiber is in certain countries, right?
Mm,
Um, I know it just just south of where I'm at, so I don't live near Provo, but I drive a ways. I can go down to Provo. Um, it's free there. Internet costs you $0. Well, kinda. What happens is they have a slightly different tax there, in that city, any business and that sort of thing, and that extra tax actually goes to paying off for the Google Fiber, and all someone really needs to do, honestly, is get a modem in that whole entire city. You have Google Fiber access.
mm.
So, there's a perfect example of where somebody can come in and they can do a lot of good, right? And so that's where the direction where we need to get going is more internet in people's homes than less.
Yes. Yeah, because it seems like it's to give to the haves instead of the have-nots, and and it's not right. It's not fair for anybody to have somebody dictate where you can go on the internet when we've always been able to go anywhere. If we want to look for go to Amazon and look for shoes, or if we want to go and look at porn, or if we want to look at whatever the case may be. I mean, whatever people, just watch videos on YouTube. It shouldn't be dictated, and we shouldn't have to pay more for what we pay right now, because like I said, if you look at how the other developed nations in the world that has internet, they are far more superior than what we are. But anyway, only thing that I'm just saying to the listeners right now, and to the listeners later on, just look into it and you'll see what I'm talking about, and hopefully that you guys will take a stand with us, because this affects everybody. So let's get on to the next topic, man. And this is probably going to be the meat and bones of the show. First off, let's do disclaimers, because I think a lot of people will look at this as we're siding with certain type with certain type of practices, and we're not. We're just giving input of what other people have said, that's written articles, things of that nature. We're giving an input from a different point of view. And that's basically a video that I made not too long ago off of an article that was brought up, and it was basically talking about there should be a happy medium when it comes to the price of games. There's a lot of people. The person in this article basically said that, look, I don't like DLC. I don't like any of these microtransactions. You know what I'm saying? Game Pass, they don't like any of it. So what their solution was basically, how about we raise the game prices to $80? Now, saying, and that's why I'm saying we're doing disclaimers. This isn't me talking. This is a person that made an article, and I wanted to get people's advice on it. So, and we definitely want to hear what you got to say in the chat as well. But since this whole, especially EA Battlefront situation went into with the loot crates, and there's some people that says that it's gambling, and there's other people that's just refuse to buy the game, whatever, and all of that. Don, what is your take on all of this? I think that it's fine. I think that people should have the right to buy whatever that they want to buy. Of course, you want games to be even kill. You don't want games to be to where people that pay for an advantage. You don't want that to be in a game. But I feel that the way that the prices of these games are and things of that nature, they're going to keep going up. And as long as we have consoles that's more powerful, like the Xbox One X, the PlayStation Pro, we got PCs that constantly keeps getting new hardware, we're going to want to see these games push the limits. So that means that these games are they're going to be more expensive to make, the big budget games, I should say. So Don, give me your experience. I'm going to let you roll on this. What do you think about this? Does this make any sense to you? What's going on?
Which part? The price part, EA part? I mean,
all of it.
There's a lot.
This is your time.
Well, man, this is what I would say. You know, I'm big component. You know, obviously we're here in America, and I'm a big component of two things, right? Freedom of speech and the free market, right? I believe in those two things full-heartedly. But when you have a free market, you're not free of the consequences. And when you have freedom of speech, you're not free of the consequences. I think we can all agree on that, right?
Right.
So, you know, people can voice their opinion, but it may not mean it's complete information. Doesn't mean it's not out of context, right? It may be an opinion. It may not even be considered a valid opinion because it's not based on facts, right? You have situations where people, you know, don't want loot crates, but the same token, the people that are paying for loot crates are subsidizing your new maps, the cost of keeping the game alive, right? Make it so you actually have more value out of the game. I think one of the things that people keep overlooking is, and we can read the quotes and stuff like that from EA, and they'll kind of reinforce what I'm saying down the road. But you know, if there's a system like what EA has put out there, right, which is loot crates, which is not necessarily, is it pay to win? Is it gambling? You can't have both. Which one is it? You're gambling for the items, or are you paying to win the item because you're not guaranteed to get the items? You kind of see where I'm kind of going with that,
right?
People are kind of running it off, you know, with one or the other. And the concern is, obviously, and make sure people think we have an understanding, is, you know, the fear is someone pays a bunch of money for in-game content and they have an advantage over you. The problem is if that really does occur, and that's how the game is built, and this is why I keep telling people, you know, that I have conversations with is, hey, did you play the game? No, I watched it on YouTube. Well, that doesn't tell you the whole story, because all games have a matchmaking system based on someone's skill level, right? And so someone gets a bunch of advantages, say by buying a bunch of stuff from a loot crate. What happens if they continue to put them in people that are not getting the same kill count as you, right? What's going to happen? The consequences is people are going to stop playing the game. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
You know, and if people stop playing the game, the people that are willing to spend money don't have anybody to play against, and starts falling apart on itself. So that's why I'm always to say, like, you know, let the free market dictate what's going to happen, right? If you bought the game and you did nothing but just play the game and you didn't do any loot crates, and that's what the majority of the people felt like they needed to do to enjoy the game, guess what? They're going to make some tweaks to that game, right? And if you, for example, play and you get frustrated because someone's got, I think the thing was like the purple cards, and they have a bunch of those purple cards, and you stop. You bought the game, you stopped. Well, guess what? That doesn't benefit EA either, because they need you to continue to play even if you're not spending money. They need that player base to be up so someone can get in, play the game, and have a good time. So a lot of it is, you know, the question is the game balanced or not? And we don't know. You know, I think they're probably still working on it. But the problem is, since there is not the transaction, it's built around the transactions also being there. We don't know if it's completely balanced. We don't know what's really going on. I can only go based on what your experience has been, KMEGA. I mean, has it seemed balanced to you? Has it seemed like you're constantly being owned by people? What's your side?
I've been playing since day one. I played the beta one time and it was really broken, so I didn't really get a chance to actually get into the meat and bones of the game. But now, since I've been playing the game since it was launched, I'm not having a problem now. Of course, like if you going one-on-one with Yoda or with Chewbacca or something like that, you're going to get worked because they are a stronger character. But for the most part, I'll just run from them and then wait till I'll huddle up with the rest of the pack, and then we'll just shoot them down. They can die evil. I mean, I've been a super character, and I've had some instances where I was really powerful and I had a really good game and I went like 28-5 because but I had to earn to get that card with the point system that they had. So
let me ask you this, because I didn't do enough digging, but are the cards one-time usable? Do you like burn through them and you have to earn the cards again? Or are they permanent?
Well, no. From what I've been playing is it's a point system. So for however many it's basically just like with Call of Duty, like getting a certain
like a kill streak.
A kill streak. It's a certain kill streak. Like if you get so many kills, you'll be able to choose whatever character that you can. So like if a person that's really good gets 30 kills, then they can get the best player. And if they happen to have that card, they can use that card, but it's only a one-time effect. It's not where you got that card and it constantly goes, because you would have to get that 30 kills again to get that character to let that card work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So what you're saying is a gamer, they cap it so you can't just spam the advantage.
Right.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
And even if you have the card, doesn't this guarantee you'll be able to use that character in that game?
No, right.
And
then another thing, and then another thing is where I'm listening to people saying that it's considered gambling, which that's fine. That's people's perspective. I'm not here to say that they're right or wrong. I'm only
definitely go deeper on that.
Right.
As far as that goes, because I see where people are coming from for sure.
Right. But the thing that I'm trying to say with this is that I don't see, when people go and they spend their money at a casino, who do people blame when the people waste their check? Do they blame the casino or do they blame the person? They blame the individual. And that's the same thing that all I've been saying from the beginning of this, is that it's the individual that makes this up. Now, of course, you want balance in the game, but this game is balanced. Of course, if a person has a huge amount of kills, then they're already good. You're going to get owned by that person. It's no different than when you play COD, or it's no different when you play Battlefield or Overwatch. If somebody is good, then you're going to get worked. It's just that they reward you more for what you do in the game, but it's not what people were thinking. And of course, you could pay for those things through the EA access. They took that away at the launch of the game. So that's the thing of it where I was confused at. Is like, look, this is a really good quality game. This is a big budget game. It's beautiful. And I'm not upset with anybody that said I'm not participating with these practices, because I ain't spent a dime on this game. The only game I spent the money to buy the game, but for any extra transactions, never spent anything for it. So
that's the thing where I'm coming from, is like there's a responsible way to go about this, and there's a way that makes gamers look bad, right?
Right.
And it creates a divide between the development side of things and gaming, which is not good. This is one of the reasons why I got on YouTube and reached out to Bot and got to know KMEGA and stuff like that. Is realistically, one of the biggest problems in gaming is that gulf between the understanding of a developer and the understanding of the gamer, and realistically the same goal, because developers are there to entertain. That's our biggest goal, right? To entertain, amaze, inspire, inspiration, all that sort of stuff. And gamers just want to be entertained, right? We have the common goal, like they merge in the middle, right? But there's always this problem of perception in what the developer is trying to do at the same time, and that's always a conflict in odds, right? So to me it sounds like, as somebody that owns the game KMEGA, right? And is it, how can it be paid to win, right, when you're winning a chance of a
Right.
possible
It's a
perk.
random, yeah, it's a random perk. It's not like
It's
you
a
just see that
possible
card and
perk.
you buy it. Yeah, it's a
So,
random.
I can see where someone says maybe it's gambling, but is it
Right.
really paid to win? Because you have the chance, and you have the same chance as someone that puts in the time to play the game.
Mhm.
Where the conversation, I would say, would be way more productive is basically if people get the game a chance and give feedback to EA of
Right.
balancing issues, right? Because it's all about the balance is the main issue of all this sort of stuff, right?
Right.
If the game is balanced enough, it doesn't really matter if someone chooses to spend the money or not. And then the free market determines if that practice is going to be accepted or not. Because people want to make the argument where they spend a ton of money. No one's There are some of those like called white whales out there, and that's what people are referring to.
Mhm.
They spend a ridiculous amount of money. They don't care. Um, there are some people that are on the, you need, I call them the golden goose, right? And then the golden gooses are the people that keep the game alive, right? Those are the people that are constantly playing. They may not spend a single dime on the game outside of buying the initial purchase, but those people are just as important to keep the game alive. So those people will continue to buy stuff. But very few people have the income to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars each day to give them some the unfair advantage that's hidden behind a perk of getting enough kills that you may not even get the opportunity to use that perk.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
see where kind of going with that? Like,
Hmm.
it's a different way of trying to balance a game. It could work. That's my thing, is it absolutely could work, and they can improve upon it, and it's just another way for gamers that don't want to spend any more than $60 to get free maps, free additional characters, and continue to invest in the game that they love.
And
Right?
that's, yeah, and this is like some of the quotes from the EA devs. They're basically like right here. They've been addressing a lot of people, and it seems like that the people that have just been going after the devs after this. I don't think they shouldn't go after the devs. I mean, of course, Disney or EA, whichever one, I get it. But listen to this. Okay. We also have heard some players are, and this was during the EA access. This wasn't, or the beta. This was before, uh,
Before it got heated.
yeah, before it got heated. And it
Yeah.
says, we also have heard some players are looking for a way to play where all players will have the same set of star cards with flattened value. Like everything else, we will continually make necessary changes to ensure the game is fun for everyone. We will work to make sure that the system is balanced both for players who want to earn everything as well as for players who are short on time and would like to move faster in their progress towards various rewards. And that was one of the things that I tried to explain to GRG, but of course I was in my tipsy rant, so I apologize about that. But the thing of it, the thing of it was, what I was trying to say was that, look, there are people that can't put in the hours like a lot of us can. I mean, if you have young children, or if you just have, put in a lot of work hours, just life in general. There are some people, if they like that particular game and if they can get advantages so they can go through that game, that's why I was saying, look, let them do it. That's fine. I mean, as long as they're out balancing, yeah, as long as you balance it out the way it works.
It's almost not just an advantage thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the opportunity to experience it, right?
Right.
If the person doesn't put enough time, they miss out on one big part of the game. And it's a brief moment, right? It's just like when you get a kill streak in Call of Duty, right? It's that brief moment, but when you do have it, it makes the game special. It makes the game memorable. In the harsh reality, and this is anyone that buys a lot of games, more games are going towards games as a service. So you're going to have less and less time, honestly, to put the time into these games. Your time's going to be split through several games as a service type situation. So you may buy the game, do a couple multiplayer matches, and get pulled away from it. And you come back in 3 or 4 months, and you're not necessarily going to be owned if it's a properly balanced game, but you won't get the opportunity to have those experiences that other people have had that experience, and that's why they love the game.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's the thing of it is that, look, I've said this, and I hate keep repeating myself. I am in full support of anybody that if they don't feel that the practices of whatever game that there is, if they're not supporting that practice, don't buy it. Don't, fine. Speak with your wallet.
Well,
And
that's what matters, because they look
right,
at numbers.
right,
That's
right.
what the thing people don't
EA's go,
realize.
yeah. EA, the game, everything has been going through hell right now because of this loot crate situation. But again, the same people that were going after EA for, well, not EA, but for Battlefield, were the same people that were going after Forza 7, and there was nothing there to go after. The only thing that I would say that anybody could get, to get upset about was the fact that if you bought the $100, which I was the one that bought the Ultimate Edition, that the VIP went away after so many cards. And from my understanding is that they would bring you more VIP cards, additional, like every month or something like that or whatever.
So it's
Yeah.
kind of funneled back, is
Right. And
what
so
you're doing.
I understood that point of it, because I'm like, but for everything else that they were talking about, you couldn't spend any money. You couldn't spend any money until just, I think, about maybe 2 weeks ago, or it was a week or two ago, where you can actually start buying, some loot crates or whatever, some
Wait, you can
boxes.
buy loot crates on the game now?
Yeah, you can actually start buying them now, and
I haven't noticed it,
it's
right? Like,
crazy.
how
Yeah.
non-intrusive it
Never
is.
used them. I never used them. It wasn't even available, and I don't need them. If you play the game long enough, you will earn enough money to where you can buy any car and every car that you want to. All the thing that you have to do is save your money. And people were getting upset, I guess, because they were used to the other Forzas, to where you would just get so much money and so much rewards that you could just go ahead and just buy cars. But this one, it seemed like they wanted to challenge you to say, hey, look, earn the money, or earn the money through the game, and then get a particular car, and that's going to take away a lot of your income, and keep playing the game so you can go ahead and build your money again, so you can buy the next available big car
It's kind of like
in their
almost
tier.
like a game that has levels.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
Weird,
Yes.
and that comes down to everything else we're talking about too, right?
Yeah.
It's a level, and I've heard other people say, outrageous things. I think one of the funniest ones I almost died laughing was wait until they start charging you for reloading your gun. Okay, that is possible that a developer can choose to do that, right? Like, there's nothing stopping them from doing that, right? I mean, and I'm not trying to instill fear, right? But the free market dictates if people are going to buy it or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So imagine if a game is dependent on microtransaction to reload your gun each time. Are you going to continue to play that game, or would you play the competition that's out there that's not charging you? Simple
Yeah.
as that. You go to the competition that's not charging you, right? That's giving you the experience that you want. And that's what comes down to all these things about, you know, all this stuff is the free market determines all that sort of stuff. And the only way you make a mark, and this is for gamers, so like, how do we make a mark, right? Yelling on Twitter, not the way to do it, right? That creates a greater divide. They start putting you in the crazy category. They're not starting.
Yeah, as a dev, that's one thing that I think you need to address is what is the atmosphere for people that just come after, because there was also death threats to devs over this situation.
Yes, that's the thing. We don't know the real situation, right?
Right. We don't.
People say there's reports of it's a fake account.
Mm-hmm.
It is or isn't, but it doesn't matter what the results is. If it's a fake account, it makes gamers look bad, right? Because some gamer made a fake account and then lied about getting death threats, right? That happens. The other one that was, you say, if it was a developer and it's getting death threats, that makes gamers look bad too. it doesn't matter what the actual result is. It makes gamers look bad. Matter of fact, I have a friend that did get laid off from EA. They closed down the studio and stuff like that. He's not bitter at EA at all, not one bit. His name is actually in the credit of this game. Okay, so he actually gave some sort of input. He doesn't work directly at DICE, so don't even bother trying to figure it out, right? And he has enough money saved away. He knew that the studio was closing down, just so did his other employees and stuff like that. I hung out with this guy and the rest of this crew during Sony's press conference. We watched the press conference together. He is the gentleman that put me in contact with people that are looking to possibly publish my title, right? He has had a great impact, super talented individual. He wants to be part of Project Pimp Cup. When he saw all this shit go down, right? Even from a publisher that laid him off, said this is too much. It's too crazy. I can do the same work that I'm doing now in Hollywood instead of games and not have to deal with this. Because he only had like a 200 followers or so on Twitter, and he was getting harassed. He wasn't getting death threats or anything like that, but he was getting harassed. People were finding out through his LinkedIn who he worked for. They were figuring out his Twitter from that, and they were publicly harassing him.
Yeah.
It's like, and so now gamers don't win. They lose. They lose a possible talent, right? My game is not going to be the same. Like, genuinely, is not going to be the same without him. So
right.
You can't take that away, right? You can't argue that, right? And it's all because he did not feel appreciated, not by his employer, who laid him off, by the people that he works hard for, which is you guys. And that's sad to me, right? Like, that is extremely sad to me, and what's going on. And that's because it creates that divide, because they're like, well, why should we stick our neck out there? Why should we try to explain the situation? They're just going to have these kind of knee-jerk reactions. It's not healthy. In regards to this, I think a lot of times too, people, and we're going to talk about raising game prices, right? You had some intellect person talking about it.
Yeah, I was looking to get into the part where where we were just bringing up about the Battlefront, where there were so many gamers that thought that, like, we've won, yay, but they said, but EA also said that, look, this is only a temporary situation, pretty much. It's saying that, like, they're listening to the fan base, but again, these loot crates or whatever type of microtransactions is going to come back eventually, and however they bring them, I don't know, but it is what it is. But there's been a lot of of course, there's been a lot of gamers out there that's been giving their opinions about this whole situation with microtransactions, whatever. But now it seems like analysts and people in the business, or just people that are part of businesses. Like, there's this gentleman named Tae Kim. He's from CNBC. There's been other people that's brought other articles that's been start saying that, look, if you take a step back and look at the data, an hour of video game content is still one of the cheapest forms of entertainment. The firm analyst writes, it shows that video game publishers are actually charging gamers at a relatively inexpensive rate and should probably raise prices. This is starting to get more circulation. See, this is the thing that I think that that's more important to gamers than all the garbage that we normally hear about who sells more, who has the best console, all that shit, right? These are the things that I think that's way more important. So I bring them up, and then there's people that just comes out and just spews hate and ignorance because they're not understanding that I'm trying to make you aware of what's going on in the industry, and the thing of it is that who's going to listen to who? Is the publishers going to start listening to these analysts? Because they say, look, if you go to the cinema and you watch a movie, it's basically a lot more than you playing an hour of video games. Now, what do we do about that? And that's the thing that I think we need to address. So Don, give me some input.
I don't think raising prices is ever a good idea, because once you've
Right.
done that, they're always going to try to tack on more, right? Because the problem is not the big payday, right? There are sometimes certain games just do really well. They have a really big payday, high anticipated title, and they sell whatever millions of copies, right? And cool, they made a profit, right? Not every game gets that way. It's very high risk and high reward. That's the problem with game development, and it has to evolve past that, right? Because raising the price is risky. The reward is a lot higher, right? The reason why they're going towards games as a service is they're trying to reduce, because a normal game sale is it's like a hot new album, right? Most hot new albums are hot for 6 months to 3 months, and then it's over, right? The wave has died, right? Unless you go on tour, right? Then you go on tour, then you start collecting there, right? And then you start slowly releasing other singles from the same album, right? And the reason why they do tours, the reason why they continue to release singles from that same album, and further as time goes out, because they're trying to extend the sales past that 6 month mark, right? And that's the issue, right? Is trying to get sales go past that 6 months mark. Because let's say you fall shy of profitability on your title, right? You want your title to be relevant for longer, right? So even if they didn't have the loot crates or pay for a loot crate type situation, what tends to happen is they're going to try to continue to dangle that carrot further out from you, right? So it just seems like it's attainable, but that next thing is just on the horizon, right? And if they can continue to do that, then their game continues to be relevant, and then people continue to buy it. Love or hate Destiny, Destiny 1, right? They got their initial people that bought it. There's people that constantly drop out of that game per update, right? But they also roll additional people in. Does that make sense? And so they
Yeah.
continue to dip and dip and dip and tip until it brings up more and more momentum, right? It's keeping that game relevant for longer. So, like if you bought the Take a King, for example, you got the actual game as well, the base game on top of that. And maybe 5 to 6 months after the initial release, but you got the base game for the same price that people bought the base game, right? And that's a perfect example of that carrot continuously being hung out further for you. And people that are early adopters don't don't get as much as the people that are later adopters, and it that kept Destiny relevant till Destiny 2 hit. If it weren't for all that DLC, no one would have played Destiny, and Destiny wouldn't have sold half as much as it did. That's a harsh reality. You can't argue that that's not the case. So the reason why Phil says games as a service, and there's the reason why you see Sony go in this direction, and the reason why you're seeing EA go this direction, and I'm sure you'll see more aggressive efforts from Activision down the road. You're seeing it more with Ubisoft. All Ubisoft's games are multiplayer only, like service-based games, right? Except for like maybe Assassin's Creed, and even they have some things tied to that, right? So the whole point is to extend your playtime, to get you sucked into that playtime, make their product more relevant, and so you're not having the risk of not making your money in that 6 months, right? Let's say you didn't make your money in that 6 months, but you made it over the year lifespan of the usability of that title, right? And you're able to be profitable. That allows investors to see that profit, continue investing money in big publishers, which allows us to continue to get bigger games of a AAA quality. What happens if they don't continue to see profitability of what they're expected from a CEO of a company? They're going to stop investing in that company. Money is going to start drying up. you're going to stop having those better experiences.
Right.
That's the harsh reality. So, that's why I always say, like, I don't have a problem with someone else subsidizing my cost if it doesn't affect the in game. If the in game is affected, then there's a bigger issue there, right? It's not just the microtransaction, there's something else going on, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And so if a game's not, but I don't fear if a game's not balanced or if it doesn't work, right? People will continue to stop buying it, so people will continue to invest in it, right? That's the risk still for the developer. So that's why I always kind of say, like, it's not something to worry about. It's not something to lose your head over, right? Because it's going to solve and fix itself. And if they continue to go down the wrong path, guess what? That leaves an opportunity for somebody else, say, like myself, to do in a way that's more acceptable to, say, other customers, right? So, I want publishers to do what they feel like they need to do in regards to that. It's their game. If it's their game to screw up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a gamer, I've bought in games at $60, and well, they've been wastes. They haven't been good games, right?
Right.
I got my value out of it. Everyone's going to have the same experience, and we had this, like when you get upset about something, I keep telling you, it's like, well, wait until the values what it's worth for you to get, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think you were talking about some sort of story mission being too short in a game and in a dev and a gamer. If it's too short, where is it worth for you to pick up new, right? Is it worth at $40? Is it worth at $30? Is it worth at $20, right?
Right.
And the thing is, you continue to invest in the hobby that you like the most. You did contribute. You didn't buy something used, and you don't have a jaded experience because you didn't spend more money than what you got out of the product, right?
Right.
So that's kind of my take. That's the reason why I don't think analysts get it, because you raise the price, then people are less willing to take the risk. Matter of fact, if you've seen anything from what Microsoft's doing to what we'll talk about Hellblade as well,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, they offer those experiences at $40. You're not getting multiplayer. You're just getting a small story experience, right?
Oh, it was $30. It was thirty
Well,
bucks for
30
Hellblade.
bucks, $40, but you get what I'm saying with that,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. 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 Right.
So if anything, they're starting to see the numbers that make sense the other direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Right.
about keeping it relevant. And so that's why I'm saying, like, raising money won't solve the problem. It's about
No.
keeping it relevant and keeping it so people that do want to spend money spend the money, vice versa. And that's what allows you guys to continue to have free content. You're contributing, actually, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your playtime is valuable to them, even if you don't give them your money. It's almost as valuable as the $20 you give them additionally, right?
Right.
Because they need you. Without you playing, they don't have those white whales that are willing to spend. So that's the economics behind it. That's why I'm like always like, take a step back, let's see what's going on, and kind of go from there. So
Right. Yeah. No. No. That's. I mean, perfectly said. I think that. I mean, we've hit it. We've hit it, and we've hit it from every different direction. I think that there's people that look at it and says people should stop crying because of, you look at also how long we've been paying $60 for a game, and the people don't even think about inflation or, saying the recouping costs of, because when people say, well, a certain game costs $150 million to make, right? They're not including the advertising. They're not including the fee that's going to pay out to the developers that's helped make that game, and all the other rest of the costs that's contributed to that. There's just the one single price for that game to be made, which is ridiculous. And so
think about like a product that's cost $150 million, right? Like,
mhm,
let's say something you buy in your local store, and I don't care what it is. It could be a piece of electronic or whatever it may be, right? It
right,
costs $150 million to produce that and put those products in stores. That company, most companies that buy and sell hard goods, right? They will make profit on that product for several years, right? Like iPhone makes profits on their products over several years, not 6 months, not 3 months. And that's kind of the difference between entertainment, right?
Mhm.
And other particular goods you spend that much money in development for. And the movie industry's been doing this for years, right? So,
Mhm.
it's like trying to say, Redbox is not going to put movie theaters out of business, right? Movie theaters are a main staple. They've been around for a while, right? But if it doesn't do well in the movie theaters, what's going to happen? It's going to come to video. When it doesn't come to video, it's going to come to Netflix, right? And
Mhm.
it's about extending what they're going to get on that return over a longer period of time. Even if the movie did really well or didn't, they're going to continue to recoup their costs over a longer period of time, and that's we've seen it before in movies. So games is trying to do their version of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all right. I think that was enough said about that topic. But it's very interesting, and I don't think this topic is going to go away anytime soon. I think we'll still
It's
be talking about this for weeks to come.
it's interesting we can talk about it and not
Mhm.
get into name calling
Right.
people that choose to spend microtransactions. We're not going to make someone feel bad if they do that sort of
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah,
right?
there's people that's shaming people for buying Battlefront 2, and all I'll just tell you is, look, don't matter. I don't care. I don't mind people hating or writing hateful things to me because I purchased a game that you don't like. You made your decision, and that's great. And I bought this game, and I'm not paying any extra for anything that except for what I bought. So it shouldn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Each individual is different on how they
It,
handle things.
I don't know about you, but it kind of brings a little bit of defiant out of me. Like, I'm not usually that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm really not. And Megan probably knows me pretty well behind the scenes, and I'm really not that guy. So it makes me want to go buy the game and do a charity stream like Snap did for 24 hours,
Hmm.
just because people are just gonna go see it just to hate it, but it'll
Yeah.
get a ton of views because of it.
Right.
And you can't really hate on the fact that I'm doing a charity stream that's going to help somebody else out, right? That there's a perfect example of me taking that same game that everyone's saying is evil, right, and turning it into a good thing.
Right.
We're better than that in gamers. We can turn these things into good things
Right.
if we choose to. So
Well, yeah, all you got to do is just basically talk to the developers in a respectful way because they're human beings, and you don't want to. And it's just like for anybody that works with people in the community, well, not community, but people that works with around people, and they know how people can be assholes and they could talk to people in a certain way. You don't like to be talked that way, so why would you want to talk to a dev that way? That's the thing that bothers me is that, look, if these people, like you said, these people want their game to be out there in the forefront and they want you to keep playing it. So like EA, well, like have Dice has said in articles, they said, look, we will fix whatever problem there is. If the public sees that there is an issue, we will change it. And that's all that matters because our dollars and our voice is a lot more important than the big wigs because they may have a certain they may have a certain thought process about it, but the gamers will dictate how the game will be bought basically because with our
I will say
wallets.
this too: like, if you're rational in the way you speak, you have more impact, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, this guy is coming from a good place, right?
Hmm.
If you're coming from a place where it's just pure hate, then they're gonna tune you out, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, how many times have you seen someone lose their cool in a store, right? The first thing the manager wants to do is get out of there. He just doesn't even want to be there. It makes everyone else uncomfortable around you, right?
Right.
Um, but what he's got to have to do, unfortunately, because when you're upset, you can't think objectively, right? Like, it's a human condition we all have. We really, me included, right? You think with the creative side of your brain. You can't actually think of the logical side of your brain until you calm down. And so what happens is that manager will listen till the person calms down. They'll usually take a deep breath, and once they got it out of their system, right? Then the manager can address the issue when they're calm enough to hear what they have to say. and that's where we're here today, where people have we have to wait for everyone to calm down before we can have some rational thought about this, and so we can move forward. And that's probably why everything is on hold. It's going to come back, but they're going to wait until everyone's just a little bit more rational.
Right.
And we're going to come back at it again. And who knows? I mean, you guys can make it one of the best games this year. Like, you literally can. You have that impact. We also have it to make it one of the worst situations as well. So it's up to you guys what you want to do.
I agree wholeheartedly. Now let's get on to Hellblade. You played Hellblade, right, Don?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, you were the one that told me about Hellblade.
Yes, I told you about Hellblade when you kind of got a little sneak peek when I went to GDC.
Yeah.
And got a chance to hang out with those guys and stuff like that. And yeah, like if you want to get an idea, the direction of where Don's game is going is single player narrative experiences at a better price, AAA quality level, but independent. Well, independent as I can get away with until talking about funding, right?
Right.
So it was Hellblade is one of those staple products where I think, we always get like these cutesy arts titles with indies, right? And people consider them the darlings, and I get that. I understand if you like indies, great, right? But it's not a AAA experience, right? What they're trying to do is do something that probably wouldn't have gotten funding, but give you that AAA quality level. And I guess apparently it didn't sell as much as it should have.
Right.
At least how I feel.
Well, no, I definitely feel that same way. This is a catch-22 because I'm not one of those type of people that like to talk about sales numbers like others like to. Like, they like to just bring up sales. This Xbox doesn't sell enough games, blah blah blah, whatever. But this is the thing here, right? When people make their lists, especially when I'm talking about the fanboys and girls, they like to make their lists and they like to throw out these PlayStation games and tout them against, what these exclusives are for the PlayStation via Xbox, via Nintendo, whatever. And a good quality game that had no competition, because Lawbreakers, they made a mistake right off the bat when they tried to cater to the PlayStation, in my opinion, to the PlayStation fan base instead of the Xbox fan base, because it's a shooter and Xbox fans are more partial to shooting games. But that's another discussion. So Hellblade really had no competition. It is exactly the perfect game for PlayStation fans because it's a single player experience. And the game just hit even from a report from them. Actually, it was a tweet. And then I was like, whoa, 500K. And let's not forget that this game also came on the PC. Now, again, there's people that brag that there's 70 plus million PlayStation 4s in the wild. There's other reports that I've seen that there's 60 to 65 million. Regardless, this is a good quality game. I'm not at the last boss yet. I'm next to the last boss, and or what entity. And the game is, like you said, Don, it is one of those games where if it was brought out as to be advertised, I don't think that it would gravitate with a lot of people because, for one, it's not all about the combat. Even though the combat is cool, I like the combat, but it's not enough of it, because you kind of, once you get into the combat mode, you want to keep fighting, but you don't. It's more mind bending, and it's a game that will challenge your mental, especially like one of the bosses where I was going against, where it's the Raven or something like that, and you jump in and you got to find out like certain different areas to where it manipulates your senses, and you have to go this way, and then you see him somewhere, and then you got to go around, and then you fight him a little bit, you beat him, and then he he sets up a whole bunch of different obstacles to go through to get to him. And it's awesome. Like, I mean, this is a well-made game. Graphically, it's one of the best looking games that you could ever play. But it's more of a challenging mental thing, and it's talking about mental psychosis, which maybe to a lot of gamers out there, for casual gamers, it's not for them. But the thing of it is that this was a game that should have sold a hell of a lot more on the PlayStation fan base than I think that it would on the Xbox. So I don't know. What's your take on this? I mean, $500K for a stellar game like this for only $30 is a slap in the face, in my opinion.
Well, and I don't want to make it a, PlayStation don't buy.
No. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to make it, but I'm just saying because
like Xbox, right?
Yeah. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying it should sold more.
Yeah, it's throwing some shade, right? But
yeah,
let's just go based on what the claim user base, right? Is what is it? How many million are they claiming on the PlayStation side?
Between 60 and 70 million.
Okay, so I have a hard time keeping track because sometimes they say in home, sometimes they don't, so you don't know where they're coming from on that. But they're out there, right? It doesn't matter if it's in a store or in someone's home. There's quite a bit few out there, right? On this one, it matters how many that are in home, right, and people that have accounts, right, that actually have fully functional accounts where people can buy titles. And the scary thing for me that on this is, because my game, it's on certain checkboxes does fall in the same category of story-based game, right? Single experience, single player experience. And if that game can't do well, what does that say about mine? Right? Like that's a scary proposition of what's going on there. And you can see where the trends are going. You can see why it would have been hard for them to do funding even if they really wanted to do the game independently or not, right? It's scary to me that people are not on board with something like that. And it's such a unique experience. You combine all the platforms together, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, right? It's just a unique experience overall with all those things, right? It's story driven, but it's interactive story driven, right? Dealing with the psychosis, which is puzzle based with action all thrown in there. And it's a unique formula. It's a game that plays well, right? And how many times what are the normal complaints about people, at least they're being loud, is I want single player experiences, and I want big story driven narrative games. And then people also complain about indies not being bigger production value. This has it all, and it's not hitting those boxes. That just sucks. I mean, I think we all lose as gamers if that's the case.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just, this game, look, guys, buy this game. And I hope that, I've said this to people that I think this game and like Nier Automata, even though Nier Automata sold really well, that those games will most likely come to the Xbox eventually. It's just that this game right here, these people put their passion, love, and devotion into it. And so many gamers, they always talk about how much they want diversity and they want something that's different. There is not too many games that I've seen like Hellblade. You know what I'm saying? It's a thing of like, yeah, combat. Okay, we've seen combat like that. Graphics, we've seen games with beautiful graphics. But we've never ever seen a game that touch on the psyche of a human being when they're going through insanity.
The closest.
Never seen it. Never seen it.
There is a game that comes close, right? It's an older one. We have to go back a little bit.
Okay.
Have you ever played Eternal Darkness on the GameCube?
Yeah, I did play. I did play it. I did play that with the traps and everything, right?
It traps. Like there's sometimes you thought you died and you didn't die.
Right. Yeah.
You were going crazy.
I never beat that game, but I did play it, so I
But you
can't.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, so you're like, but I just interacted with that, but it didn't, you know, it was one of those situations, right? So it dabbled a little bit more into that, but it's really kind of an untouched genre, right? I don't know if you can call it genre because there's only really two that I can think of. This game,
Right.
Eternal Darkness, but it is a subject matter that can be explored a little bit, right? And I don't know, it just the good sign is this, right? They've hit the broke even part. They've proven a point. A AAA experience can be done independently, right? And you can at least break even. So at this point, my hope, and this is, I'm not a fan of the Game Awards. I'm not a fan of what Jeff Keighley has put together, but I understand they're up for a couple of nominees. Am I correct? Right. I hope they earn a couple of those. I hope they get publicity because of that. So that way this game can get a little bit of a second wind, if that makes any sense. And once they start getting a little bit more profit in their pocket there, guess what they're going to do? They're going to roll that profit into porting it over to other platforms. So that's going to be Xbox, right? Down the road. So people that are Xbox players can have that experience as well. They weren't just trying to keep it off one platform or another. They just only have so much money to make it on one platform, and they're going to have to port over. So,
Yeah. So I just hope that it does get the opportunity for Xbox fans to get a hold of it. And if it could come on to the Switch, I doubt it because it's so graphically powerful. I don't see it doing that. But I mean, it's a really good game, and I hope that for PlayStation fans out there, don't slip on it because it's very different, it's unique, but the voice acting, all of that, it was so well done, man. Kudos.
well,
Kudos.
Sony also does I don't know if you were, so Sony has their own solution for like spatial audio, similar to what Microsoft's done with their, I think, I forget what they're called, their in-house solution, which is, I think, Windows Sonic or something like that. And then you have Atmos on there. There's not a lot of PlayStation games that support their version of spatial audio, which is kind of proprietary to Sony. Um, but they do have those headphones that are spatial audio, and this game does support it. And if you want a unique experience that you just couldn't have anywhere else, like, just give that a shot. It's only $30 for the game, right? And
Right.
headphones, I mean, those are a longer term investment over than just one game. So
Yeah. And and it could be even more affordable even by that time if it comes out sometime next year, which that's what I was looking at. Like it might be like year exclusivity, something like that. And then but give it a chance. It's a really cool game, and I would feel that it would be great to come on the Xbox library, and then for Sony fans, pick that game up. Pick that game up for real. Okay, we're going to the last topic, and that's going to be Black Friday sales. I was going to talk about the Forza Horizon dev. What I'm saying? I was going to talk about a little bit about that because they said that they were going to do an RPG, and I was going to just ask you just really quick. Well, I guess I'm already asking you, so I might as well. What do you think about that? Like, oh snap! Man, that was my hard drive. Good Lord. Do you think that it's
there goes KMEGA's game library, right?
No. That was my hard drive from my computer. Like, oh, like mercy. So anyway, so no, do you think that that's going to be a multi-plat, or do you think that Playground Games is going to try to make a game that's exclusive? Because they haven't really given a lot of information, but they did say that their next game that they're working on is an RPG. And will this affect Forza Horizon 4?
They're expanding, right? So they have their core group that works on Horizon, and they're going to have that. I don't think the contracts really changed. And I wouldn't be privileged to that information between Microsoft or those guys, but I think they've proven they are be responsible for that franchise. They've also proven that they, especially after Horizon 3, right, and how successful that one has been for them. That one just kind of went, got out of control in a good way. And going forward, you know, they're just a proven development talent. A lot of those people came from Codemasters. People don't realize that. So Codemasters, they either had a falling out of employees, people got let go, there was downsizing, there was something that went wrong at Codemasters, that a certain segment of people form playground games, right? And then playground games or Microsoft, one of those two, offered to pitch to one another, and that's how Horizon series started. So um, an open world, they do an open world racing game like nobody else, right? And
Right. Yeah.
so I think there really are just a absolutely stunning proving talent that's out there in the industry. And a lot of times when you have these exclusive contracts like which Horizon does, right? Um, there's contracts like a certain segment of employees are usually going to be working on a product, right? Sometimes they'll call them by name. Sometimes it's a certain percentage of staff, whatever it may be, or a certain number of people on the project itself. And you know, them expanding into these other areas because they want to make some another game in an RPG element. You know, that's new talent they're bringing in, right? And so it's most likely not conflicting with their contract with Microsoft.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I think it, because there's a game that was, I think it got delayed, but there was a game that they were working on that was, um, they showed a trailer where there was big goblins walking around smashing stuff, and then there was these guys running around, jumping around, cutting them up and things. Um, and then there was like, my boy, Zaire, that would be saying, well, these guys aren't having the freedom to do what they want to. Well, it seems like they are. And if it, but it's up to, it is up to Microsoft if they decide they want to swoop them up. But that's what this RPG, maybe Microsoft is looking at them to develop an RPG for them. Who knows? But that's why I was going to touch on that just for a little bit, because it's still a lot in the air for that. But that's good for them.
I'm excited for what playground games bring.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
care if it, to me, I don't care if it's multi-plat. I don't even care
Me
if it's
neither.
Sony exclusive or Microsoft exclusive at this point. They're a proven, talented developer that I like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it took a while to get there, but their projection is upward, right? They
Mm-hmm.
keep every release, they keep getting better and better and better, and that's what you want. And we have here too many of studios closing down. We also hear about too much of studios growing irresponsibly and then closing back down. So I hope that's not the case with them, because I would hate to see those guys go away. But I don't think that is going to be the case with them. They know what they're doing. They're smart guys. They're talented people, and I wish them the best of luck, and I look forward to whatever they create. So
Yeah. And then what about the rumor of I seen a picture, I posted it on Facebook, about the Forza Horizon 4, and it was in Tokyo. Now,
the joke picture that I sent you, I
yeah,
sent you a
yeah.
DM. That's a totally fake picture, right? But
Yeah, I knew it was a fake picture, but
yeah,
I'm hoping.
yeah. I'm hoping. I think that environment would be pretty badass. It's one of those things that really that environment can really show off HDR
Mm-hmm.
like crazy
Oh
because of
yeah,
all
the
the
bright
light sources,
lights.
right? So that
Yeah.
you can add those values and make sure those nits are really, really, really bright.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in regards to that, and then the other is just like that can have everything, right? You can have the countryside, the openness of the countryside, unique location, right? Um, you can have more of those cars that you don't see as much in Forza, which is the Japanese imports.
Mm-hmm.
So you can probably get an idea of a lot of that kind of going on. Honestly, I think it would be a great scene because that's one of the big parts of Forza Horizon is where is it going to take place, right?
Right.
That's where that part of that franchise has really established itself. That's almost as exciting as like when you get like a new Assassin's Creed, and it's a totally different time and era, right? So
Right.
it's the setting is always a big star on that. So no, I think that would be a good choice. That's the rumor that's floating around a lot. I don't know if it's stemmed from those fake doctor photos that are being thrown out there.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, somebody that does computer graphics, as good as those are, they're fake.
Right. Now, I knew it was fake, but it was just the mindset of like, whoa, if they go to Tokyo, that would be sick, because it would be just so, like you said, with the HDR, with the lighting, just the whole atmosphere, it would be just so, it would be a draft, just whatever. It would just be ridiculous. I can't wait. Like, it would just, then you have people that would complain like, oh yeah, we do too much drafting. Well, if you are doing in Tokyo, that's all you're going to be doing, is doing a lot of drifting, and I'll say drifting around. So yeah, like that would be dope though. So, but they've been picking some right places, so it's been amazing for what they've done.
I'm excited for what those guys are going to do. I mean, we were joking around in the DM. I don't care if it's up in Canada. You can ride a moose. I have a feeling they somehow can make that work, right? Like they're that type of crew. So I'm excited for it. And I've never been excited for Horizon. Like after 3, I'm excited what they're going to do next. So.
Yeah, the first one I was absolutely amazed with, because it was just something that brought back that old Need for Speed feel, but just with the music, the atmosphere, it was special. The first Horizon was special. 2, I don't know what it is about 2. I've gone back and I played it and I like it. It's a great game. It just doesn't have that. It doesn't have that soul. It seems like it doesn't have the same.
There's that
flavor,
unobtainable X factor.
Yeah,
right? You can't put your finger on, but it's there. And 1 didn't have it for me. It didn't grab me, right? 2 didn't grab me. So you can see, like, we're coming to 3. I'm like, I don't know about that, right? Like, I'm more of a motorsport guy. I kind of walked away from an arcade racer. And I forgot what happened. Oh, the demo came out, and I tried out the demo. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't sleep on this. And I remember I canceled something that I pre-ordered, and then rolled it into the special edition. And I don't buy very many special editions. Forza Horizon 3, and I literally finished that game. Like, the only thing I haven't found is there's some road I'm missing. But I've done every single race and got gold and every single possible race in that game. So that's far from where I was originally when I was talking about the game. So
right, yeah, I did 1, 2. I was working on, and then 3. I still got to work on that. 3 brought back that soul, and I was like, oh wow. And then and I've been a fan just of Forza in general, but then Forza 7 came out, and then I've been mesmerized. I'm like, this takes me back to the GT 3 days, and this is exactly what a simulated racer should feel like, in my opinion. And I'm like, okay, I'll get back to Horizon later. It's amazing. But anyway, let's get on to the last topic so we can get out of here, man. We going really long tonight, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's how we usually do it, right?
Yeah. Well, no, sometimes we've been kind of short, but no, whatever. We haven't done it, and the people have been asking for it, so it's great. So Black Friday sales. Have you participated on any Black Friday sales for either PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo? Have you got anything yet?
No.
Cheapskate.
It's not that. It's not that. Like,
I know, man.
So there's a certain time of the year my wife says, all right, you can't buy crap, because if I keep buying stuff, then she can't get me anything for Christmas, right? So, like, in games is one of those things I look forward to on the holidays, like getting a new game, and like, just as you remember as a kid, and then you just veg out on a game on the holidays. That's slowly become something that, growing up, that was just a big part of my life, and still is now. So because of that, yeah, I haven't hit any of the Black Friday sales. I haven't even looked at anything. I think the only game outside of Wolfenstein that I'm interested in, and Star Wars. I want to actually play Star Wars. All this negative talk just makes me want to play it more. So,
yeah.
And I want to try that out as well. So, there's only 2 games on my list, and I'm hoping one of them is on Black Friday, so I can tell my wife. So.
Yeah.
So what have you seen? I heard it's pretty big.
It is massive. It is over 400 games on the Xbox side. It's pretty robust on the PlayStation side. I was going through and I was looking at the deals on both ends. I need to look on the Steam sale, but I mean, I don't know. Me playing on the X, I kind of ain't been really worried about playing on my PC. But there's some really good deals. Like Agents of Mayhem is only $20. The Mayhem bundle, the Total Mayhem bundle is $25. You can get the Evil Within 2 for $30. I think Wolfenstein is $40. I can't because I already got Wolfenstein. I can't actually see the price for it here. Assassin's Creed Origins is $48.99. If you want the gold edition, is $69.99. Plus, with all the Assassin's Creeds, you can get the Elizio collection for $20. Assassin's Creed Gold for $28. There was one deal that, I mean, you know, I'm a big Battlefield fan, but this was crazy to me. Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline, both for only $9.90. Like, you got to be kidding me. You know what I'm saying? Now on the PlayStation is only Battlefield 1, and that was like $7.79 or something like that, basically $8. But for both games on the Xbox, it is $9.90. The BioShock collection is $20. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, if anybody's still playing that, is $30. Let me just go. Like, oh, this was a good deal, and I think this is on PlayStation and on Xbox. The Dishonored collection is $30. For the complete collection is only $32 on the Xbox. I can't remember if I've seen the complete collection of remastered of Dishonored 1, and then you had 2 and 3. I'm sorry, you had 2 and the DLC, which is the Dishonored Death of something. I don't know, Death of the Outsider. But on the Xbox, it's $32, and I know that I've seen the Dishonored 2 for $20, and the definitive edition $10. So I'm thinking it's probably the same on the PlayStation. I got DOS X, Mankind Divided. It was only $9.90. So, and then I had like.
So let me ask you this question. So obviously, and I don't like to get into the sell stuff anymore than you, right? Because it just brings up people trying to justify their purchases and stuff like that, and that's not what we're about here in the game.
No.
But we were just talking about the free market earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the perception is Xbox has got the better deals and got obviously more of them, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think if we start seeing MPD numbers, because those guys get Sony and Microsoft pay for those, right? Mm-hmm. Numbers, if they open up that their digital envelope, right, and then find out there's a substantial deficit there, right? Do you think they're going to be making a little of adjustment between now and the big holidays to catch people's attention and stuff like that? Obviously, it's very well known now that there's a difference in the sales, right? But do you think this competition is going to drive Sony to kind of up their game between now and the holidays?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, they already got the PlayStation. It was the PlayStation Slim for $199. The Xbox One S is going to be $189, and the Xbox One Fat is $149. And it's funny because there's a couple of people at work that were they were looking at the deals, and I'm not the type of person to tell people, well, just get Xbox and you're fine. I don't do that. I'm just they came to me and was like, hey, I know you into video games and things like that. I'm going to buy my kid this 149 Xbox, and I'm like, why would you get the $149 Xbox when you can get a better Xbox that performs better for $189? Or if you want, you can get a better place. You can get the PlayStation at its best with the Pro for $400, and then you can get a Xbox One X.
Too for the holidays, they're like they dropped it like $40 or $50 or something like that.
For what, the Pro?
Pro.
I keep looking at every time I keep seeing it, they always show this special edition that's for $439. Okay. So they probably did drop the regular price. I don't know, because I'm gonna have to trade in mine. I'm gonna have to trade in my Slim for a Pro, because I can't go back. Like I've been saying, I can't go back to anything but HDR, man. After playing games on the X, I can't even do the regular PlayStation. I got to get me a Pro. I just can't, man. HDR is life.
Didn't I warn you about that?
Yeah, you did.
Want to invest in the future, man. When you buy, you always want to invest in something towards the future.
Yeah, you just can't do it. Yeah, so
and honestly, it's a year since launch, and so a lot of the gripes people have, like the frame rate not being as stable on the Pro as the base model and stuff like that. And they still have like little kinks here and there, but it's gotten a lot better. And it's a lot more consistent that the Pro will outperform the base model console on all levels. Right? It's more consistent that happens now than the other way around. So.
Right. So, I mean, there's just tons of deals. Like Forza Horizon 3, the standard version is $24.99. The deluxe is $45. For Honor is $24. The deluxe is $28. Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six Siege together is $50. That's a crazy deal. And then just like just going through, because the games that I have, they like say owned, so I can't see the prices on that. Like Just Cause 3 it's $12. Mafia 3, I have Mafia 3. The deluxe edition is $24. I totally suggest to everybody out there, if you have not played Mafia 3, this is a perfect time to get that game. That is a great game. If you like any of those open world type of games like Grand Theft Auto, this is a cool game. It has a great story. Just a lot of great deals. I mean, the Metal Gear Solid 5 complete edition is under $20. It's $19.49. The Mighty 9 is $5. Just keep going.
In case anyone doesn't know, that KMEGA's got a problem when it comes to buying games.
I got a crazy problem with it. Yes,
an issue in regards to that. We actually may have to do some interventions to make sure. Don't take this the wrong way. I know you play KMEGA. I'm not even throwing that shit, right? Like I know you play,
right?
But like we need to set some sort of parameter. You need to start finishing a certain amount of games before he buys a new one.
Right. Because I just get into a mode. I start playing games, and then I'll buy them, and then I'll play them, and then I'll buy them, and then I'll start playing the other games, and then it goes bananas for me. But you know what? The good thing is that I was put on a budget today, because I was like, look at this sale. I said, this sale is fantastic. And then also on the PlayStation, for anybody that's a Persona 5 fan, it's $30 right now. I'm thinking about copping it. I'm thinking about it, $30. I was saying $25 for me is the perfect price for it, but $30, I might have to go ahead and have to go ahead and cop that. But anyway, Prey is $20, and I was put on a budget of $35. Like, look, you only got, what I'm saying? The old lady said, look, $35. Look, if I want to buy you something, it's just like what you said with your wife. Like, I want to get you something, and I know you like games. Well, give me an opportunity to get your game. So she said, look, you only got a $35 budget. So with that $35, I got like 4 games. I got Rocket League, which was $10. I did. I got
difficult for your wife, is what you're
I just got more difficult. Yeah, I bought Rocket League, I bought DOS X, and I bought the BioShock collection, And then I bought one other game. I can't remember what it was, but it was only like $7. So I was like, all right, good. Woohoo. And that's it. I'm done. I'm good. So I'm finna this weekend, I'm finna just start playing. I'm finna finish Battlefront. I'm finna finish Call of Duty. And then I'm probably just gonna jump back on Shadows of War or Assassin's Creed, whichever one.
Stick to one, man. On those big open world games, especially on Assassin's Creed. There's so many side stories.
Man, that game is massive.
There's so much depth there, and you're really missing out if you keep bouncing between stuff. Like,
yeah,
as a friend, like I want you to get the most out of that experience because it's something special, actually.
It's a wonderful game for what I've played so far. It's a great game. So
yeah, I don't like the combat as much. I wish they didn't change it as much, but then again, I would be a hypocrite not to say I want developers to take risk. And it seems like a lot of people do like the combat. So the majority rules on that one, not me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that game is so good. I mean, who knows, KMEGA? Like with all these sales, someone may game gift you something.
Oh man, that'd be great. Hey, look, you know what I'm saying? Destiny, I think was $28 or something like that. It was 28 or $32. If somebody would like to go ahead and give me Destiny, I will definitely play it with you. I put a stipulation and said that I will not buy Destiny, but I will play the hell out of it if I had it to play.
And if you're looking at a way to really troll KMEGA, you just buy the copy from me because I've gotten a couple games that way.
Yeah, there's people that hate people so much and they benefit from it, so that's great.
Yeah, like what is it? Tekken.
Yeah, that was Tekken. Like really?
Yeah, someone sent me a code off Amazon.
Yeah. That's great though. So I mean, I'm glad when people get things. The one thing that I got, I already had the game, which was Injustice, the deluxe, Injustice 2, the deluxe edition, and I appreciate Mr. Rodriguez for sending that to me. But I already had the game, so what I did is there was a little kid in Australia that would hit me up, and I would feel uncomfortable to talk to. I think Don, you've heard me talk about that little kid before. Like he would hit me up.
The party went out.
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on, man? Let's play." And I'm like, "You're like a preteen." I'm like, "This is weird," but I would still be nice to him and things like that. And then he would always talk about like what games he had because he only had Minecraft, Titanfall 2, and there was another game. So I let him have that Injustice 2, and because I try to give back what I can, and you know what, and he was very appreciative of it, and that's awesome, man. So I appreciate Mr. Rodriguez for hooking me up with that game, and that's what it's all about. So anyway, man, we're about to get out of here, man. Don, where can they find you at? What is any new projects or videos that you're going to be doing in the future?
Right now, I've been given the agenda to deal with the holidays. So I'm waking up, probably get a couple hours of sleep here. I'm going to be waking up, and I need to start the smoker to get some smoked turkey legs going. So nothing special for me outside of next podcast on Saturday. Right. On that, so you definitely catch both me and KMEGA there. And I don't know, do you have anything going on? You have GRG going on this
well, I asked the crew. I asked the crew, and I said if because it's a holiday and everything, and people might have to go somewhere, or they just don't feel like doing it, just let me know. All Day said he don't know if he'll be on or not, but if he can, he will. Fines, they told me that they'll contact me, whatever, but we'll see. If not, then we'll have GRG next Friday. But I do next podcast. We'll be doing that Saturday on Xbox channel. Oh yeah, Destiny 2 is $38, and then somebody asked me, Injustice 2 is $20 on the Xbox, and
I need to buy it. So I have a signed copy of that game, and I can't play it.
Yeah, you need to get it. It's 20.
Buy a digital copy.
Yeah, you need to get the digital copy. It's only 20. It's only 19.49 or something like that right now on the Xbox. And I just seen something on Twitter. My boy B Shadows, he sit there and said that PlayStation has it for $20. So jump on that immediately before they raise that price, because that is a huge deal for a fan. It is the best fighter that's out this year, hands
This year
down.
is one of the
Even
best
over
ones, for sure.
even over my Mighty Tekken. It is a great fighter. So yeah, and just checking me on BGST. And big shout out to Intro Media Gaming 100 and Lady Infamous and the whole crew, man. And man, thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. And everybody have a blessed day tomorrow, and eat hearty, eat well, and hopefully y'all have plenty of leftovers, because I know I will. I'm finna eat till I'm full, man. That's why I'm not eating that much today. And I'm ready to eat and just be stuffed and roll around like a big old beach ball. All right.
KMEGA is not going to have the top button in his pants. So.
No. The pants button will not be fastened. No, I'll be wearing jogger pants. Fuck it. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Peace. Good night.